Hi, I'm Cory Martin.
And I'm Leslie MacNabb.
And we are the co-owners and co-founders of the Recovery Revolution, which is a recovery platform that seeks to support and provide a place for healing and understanding for anyone who loves somebody who is in need of recovery from addiction, mental illness, or other experiences. So this clip that you're about to see is from one of our live Q&As from our Heal for Real program, which is a 6-month incubator for partners of those who are struggling with addiction or mental illness. Now, in this Q&A, we're going to talk a little bit about the concept of fake it till you make it and whether or not that really is helpful, how we can go about believing in ourselves a little bit better and understanding what to believe, how to think about our situation so that we can have the best outcomes.
Let's get to it. Okay, it is Q&A time.
Yay, Q&A time.
I love this. I love doing, answering actual questions from actual people rather than thinking about, I wonder what they're wondering.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is probably my favorite session each week is the Q&A. And like, I want to do like 6 more Q&As per week. That's, maybe not, but like maybe 3.
All right. Our first question I'm going to read here is, one question or thought I had when this method, and we're talking about the stable method, was presented to me the first time during the Reclaim Your Power workshop was about fake it until you make it. This came to me when Believe was discussed. I was wondering how you two feel about the concept of fake it until you make it. When it was first presented to me over 15 years ago, my immediate reaction was negative. But then I tried it for one specific purpose and it worked. I'm not sure it's applicable in every scenario, but perhaps some scenarios. It just has such a yuck feeling to it when you hear it because of the idea of being fake. Okay, so we have some thoughts about this.
Yeah, I have so many thoughts about this because I just don't like the phrase fake it till you make it, but I'm also an actor and sometimes it's absolutely necessary. Sometimes the things that you are believing and the way that you're behaving, it's not working for you. And the best thing you can do is behave what feels like inauthentically, but that is an improvement. I think a better way to frame this is something that I've heard is if something's worth doing, it's worth doing poorly. Because a lot of people say, well, if a thing's worth doing, it's worth doing right. But sometimes you don't have it in you to do it right. But there are things like, brushing your teeth, drinking water. And like, if all you can do is buy a giant thing of plastic water bottles and just like grab one every day, sure, it would be better to have, a permanent like metal bottle that you refill at the sink, but maybe you don't have the energy for that. And it's more important that you get water in your body than it is that you say, well, I'm not going to drink water because I don't have the right kind of bottle to carry around. So it's worth doing something poorly, or like brushing your teeth. Like, I don't have the energy to brush my teeth for 3 minutes a day and then floss, so I'm just going to do nothing. That's way worse than scrubbing a toothbrush through your mouth for 15 seconds and throwing it in the sink and then falling asleep on the couch. Like, that's better than not brushing your teeth at all. So that's a good way to kind of reframe it, that if a thing is worth doing, it's worth doing poorly. It's worth doing at all in any way that you can. And if you know that something that's important for you is to behave in such a way because it will benefit you, you can at least put your believing in the improvement of that behavior. So that's not really faking it if you think of it as less of a betrayal of your authenticity and more of a commitment to your pursuit of just an improved life experience. And if you want to try it for a week and if it doesn't end up working, then you say, I'm going to try not faking it as much. Or if you want to see, I'm going to do this for a month and see if it becomes a habit, oftentimes it does. But I've also known people who've tried the whole fake it till you make it. And if you're suppressing how you're really feeling and what you're feeling is the opposite, it can sometimes make problems worse. So I do want to talk about this issue of belief because it actually came up in a different group recently. Someone had asked about it and I had addressed it recently in a completely different group. And that was the understanding how affirmations work, but really understanding how to frame things in such a way that you can believe them. So saying believe in your power, it's like, well, I don't believe in my power. I just don't believe that. But what you can do is you can look at the facts, because it's very hard to refute, objective fact. When someone says, this grass is green, if you're not colorblind, you can insist that it's red, but you know that that's not true. So when someone says something, asserts it as a fact, you can say, okay, yes, that is true. So start with the real basics as far as believing in your power. So start with knowing the fact that you are human, right? Can you agree that you're a human being? Is that a fact that you're a human being? Okay, what are some facts then, some general facts about human beings? Is it a fact that how a person behaves doesn't matter? Of course, we don't believe that. If we believed that, then we would have no valid objections to the behaviors of the treatment we're receiving from our partners or loved ones, which many of us do. So if you do believe that human behavior matters, how people treat others, how people treat themselves, if you think that that matters, and you think that you're a human being, the logical conclusion of those two things is that you have power, that your behaviors have an effect. Now, that doesn't mean that you are Superman. It just means that your behaviors do bring about outcomes, do contribute to outcomes, contribute to the experiences of those around you, as well as contributing to yourself. The ways you can confirm this are really simple. You can do it in so many multitude of ways. Like if you need to do a really silly version, like I'm not advocating self-harm here, but if you think you don't have power, take your hand and slap yourself in the face and tell yourself, did that hurt? Oh, I did that. I made that outcome. I made a thing happen. I physically, mentally, emotionally am capable of contributing to an experience, which means I have power in myself as well. So spiral up from those tiny, obvious things. Now, obviously, don't just start hitting yourself. It's not super well adjusted, but the tiny basic aspects of your power are evidence of your greater power in your own life.
Yeah. And the thing that came to my mind when it came to fake it until you make it, as far as my own experience, thinking back to the time when my partner was struggling with active use, he was very sick. There were safer spaces than others to show what was really happening. And so there were some cases, like you said, being an actor, where I needed to be professional, and I needed to, hold it together. It was kind of like a survival skill. Yeah. I was a teacher.
Yeah.
I was a teacher during this time. And if I was in the room and just like falling apart and, giving up and having no hope, that would be, that might be traumatic for my students. Right. So to me, it was really important to have support, people that you could talk to really share what was really happening, people who are there, like in this space, in our group. This is a great place to talk about what's really happening. There are other places where, it's not going to be best to do that. And you do have to kind of fake it and put on a happy face. One of my friends has an Instagram page, and she mentioned something about like just showing some things, some happy moments that I want to remember. Of course, I'm human, and everything that happens throughout the day is not happy. Or she said something like that. And I appreciated that, because Instagram can be a place of, just showing all, what do they call it? Just showing all the good sides of things that are happening. So, and belief has such a ring of hope to it. And so if you're believing, then you really have hope that change is possible, recovery is possible. And so I think it's just that word fake, right? It just has a negative connotation. So, but sometimes it's survival, and we have to do that.
Mm-hmm. I had one more thing to add about belief, and this is just how I think about belief. And this has been honed through like hearing a lot of different people talk about what beliefs are, how beliefs are formed, and how to change them. And for me, what I've learned just as an individual, is that my beliefs are a combination of what I know, and then I can identify what I actually believe based on what I know, based on how I'm behaving. So when you take your knowledge and you compare it against your behavior, in the cross section of that is what you believe. So if you know, for example, if you know, like rationally, okay, I'm a human and all human beings have value, but I maybe am not treating myself well, then you can see there that your belief is not congruent with your knowledge. And the more knowledge we collect, the more we strive to know and actually understand things, the better we can hone what is believable to us and adjust those beliefs of like, okay, these things that I'm believing based on how that I can see I'm believing based on how I'm acting, those things are maybe not reasonable, those things are maybe not serving me. And so you can even start adjusting beliefs just by developing the new belief of, I believe things that don't serve me. Starting there, if you're not all the way to believing in your power, if you're just in, I believe things that hurt me sometimes. And then when you get stuck on a belief that's I'm worthless, you remind yourself, hey, here's a fact, and I do believe this and I know it to be true. I believe things that hurt me sometimes. This might be one of those things. So you don't get too stuck in your negative beliefs, and you can actually start to make that transition and progress up to having beliefs that serve you and that actually benefit you and that can get you to that point of believing that you do have power within your circumstance.